Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Conference of Parties 30. It's kicking off in Brazil. I hope you stick around. We got a good show for you tonight. We're going to start off with a song, and we'll be right back after that. See you in a moment.
The birds washed up, feathers torn, scientists mumble, eyes are worn, shake their heads, say what went wrong, check the numbers, drag it along, they write their books, shake their hands, watch it sink into the sand, call it heat, call it tide, call it anything but the crime. The blob don't burn, the blob don't kill, but the core still burn and the waste still spills. The blob don't kill, the blob don't burn, but the fuel still melts and the tides still turn. The blob don't burn, the blob don't kill, but the fish still starve and the bones lie still. The blob don't kill, the blob don't burn, but the truth stays buried where the dead things fill. 10 years gone, still no sound. Birds don't sing when the food runs out. They print their papers, paint the walls. Never once where the bodies fall. They write their books, shake their hands, watch it sink into the sand. Call it heat, call it tide, call it anything but the crime. They're puzzled, they're stunned, they say they don't know. Oh, what a show, well, what a show. They point to the sky, to the tides and the flow. Where did it go, where did it go? They'll blame the heat, they'll blame the waves, not the course, not the grave. They'll figure it out someday soon, someday soon, someday. The blob don't burn, the blob don't kill, but the core still burn and the waste still spills. The blob don't kill, the blob don't burn, but the fuel still melts and the tides still turn. The blob don't burn, the blob don't kill, but the fish still starve and the bones lie still. The blob don't kill, the blob don't burn, but the truth stays buried where the dead things fill. They'll figure it out someday soon, someday the truth stays buried.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's called Scientists and the Blob. And Their Blob. I'm sorry, the Scientists and Their Blob. It's James Lucid on YouTube. So I'm going to build our company's going to build a small modular reactor for Conference of Parties for next year. And we're going to use 3 geothermal energy wells to power the site. And we're hoping the site will produce 100 kilowatts. The geothermal will be producing about 400 megawatts. And the idea is to produce the first small modular reactor in North America. So we're hoping about 100 kilowatts, which is in line with a typical nuclear plant that is dependent upon 2 large gas, oil, and coal plants. So I think we're a better option. And we're going to call it Atoms for Climate. How is everybody doing? On this beautiful Monday. Conference of Parties 30, which is United Nations, just wonderful, United Nations. It started in Brazil and it needs $1.3 trillion this year, which is better than last year. So things are looking up for Earth. So everybody chips in. The kids all have cookie drives and stuff like that and pick up bottles and sell them. I think we could make that kind of money for UN. Amid squabbles, bombast, and competing interests, what can Conference of Parties 30 achieve? So Conference of Parties is going to have the World Nuclear Association, International Atomic Energy Agency, and they're going to promote nuclear power as the solution to climate change. Don't you just hate it when the ice cube is in the wrong spot? Stops you from getting a drink. You run into a big ice cube instead of drinking water. If the global heating surpasses 1.5 degrees Celsius for a prolonged period, can you imagine how good that would be for Canada? We don't have to wear thick winter jackets for most of the year. Because Canada's pretty rough, right? We all live in igloos, and we have one shopping mall in the middle of Canada we all shop out of. I mean, you skidoos in the summer too, right? It's so cold here. The mosquitoes are over 12 inches here. You have to use a 12 gauge. Most people use fly swatters. We actually use 12 gauge shotguns for the mosquitoes here. They're so big. And I could dig living like this. This would be fantastic. All year long. Got to leave your windows open. You don't need to burn any fuel because it's so warm. That's going to save a lot, isn't it? The environment editor. Wow. We should get married. I'm an environmentalist. She's an environment editor. She can edit me. You know what I mean? Conference of Party 30 kicks off with no U.S. presence. Wow. There's going to be 50,000 dignitaries. You know, dignitaries. No criticism is allowed at Conference of Parties, I noticed, again this year. There's some of them. And they're going to decide every facet of your life for the rest of your life if you're given the opportunity, and you might not have an option. Conference of Parties 30's Climate Summit in Brazil kicking off Monday will be defined largely by the absence of the United States. A space that will be partially filled by China. Really? So it's either China or United States go there? I'm kind of confused about that. 50,000 participants. 50,000. And if you had done this virtually, and then you took that money and put it towards the $1.3 trillion you need that you're going to save, because they probably got 1,100 police there, 11,000 police there in the military and Navy and everything, right? All the secret services from all the countries that are going to be there participating in it. And you know, they don't count the Navy, the military rather, emissions as part of the environmental issue. They have a get out of jail so-called free card. Adams for kickbacks. That's rich, man. 50,000 participants They all get 7-course meals. Of course, they're all drinking water taken from the only glacier left on the planet. They're eating the last dodo birds on the planet. And they have the last caviar from the sturgeons that are left on the planet. Bless their hearts, because they're so much better than me or you. People are regularly killed in extreme weather events or around nuclear power plants or within 1,000 miles of a nuclear power plant from the radioactive fallout from the fuel pools. People have always been killed in extreme weather events. Always, as long as I can remember. Long before the dinosaurs were here, people were killed. Long before people were here, people were killed by extreme weather events, actually. A turning point for methane. Leaders move to pull the climate emergency brake. So just a forewarning that tonight is kind of a comedy show. Like my life, right? It's a joke, so. A turning point for methane. Leaders move to pull the climate emergency brake at Conference of Parties 30. Climate brake. I'm sorry. Climate emergency brake. I never heard that one before. That's new. Oh, bravo. I say bravo. I might get that tattooed on my arse. That's pretty cool. Climate emergency brake. I never heard that one before. That's hilarious. Oh, that's the Climate and Clean Air Coalition. They're the ones that are promoting nuclear, right? The United Kingdom and Brazil launched a super pollutant country action accelerator under the Climate and Clean Air Coalition, CCAC. Wow. Holy. Is that the same United Kingdom that is over 50% invaders now instead of... Should everybody in the United Kingdom move down to the countries that are invading them? To drive rapid cuts in methane, you say, in HFCs and air pollutants that cause warming across 30 developing countries by 2030, with a $25 million funding package for 7 countries to kickstart the implementation. It's mandatory for every country because this group down there calls themselves United Nations. It used to be the League of Nations. Maybe we should just call them what they really were, League of Nations. For 7 countries to kickstart the implementation. How come they're so fixated on controlling every facet of everybody's lives on the planet and documenting it like a bean counter would do? Led by United Kingdom, the statement drastically reducing methane emissions in the global fossil fuel sector. Methane has always been released through every facet of the planet. It releases every living organism, so to speak, every living creature releases methane. Always has. That's part of the biosphere. If you don't get rid of the methane, you get rid of the biosphere. Signed by Canada, France, Germany, Japan. Why would you include Japan? My goodness. If Japan recycled all the vending machines they have down there, you can build a couple of 100,000 small modular geothermal reactors. Kazakhstan, if you dig up all the topsoil in Kazakhstan from all the nuclear testing, that's enough to power 1 million reactors for 1 billion years, right? Norway and the United Kingdom. Norway? Really? Norway? What have they ever invented? Like the straw or something? And the United Kingdom with support from European Commissions. 500 unelected delegates, like the same delegates that are at Conference of Parties are unelected, but they're representing you and they're making decisions for you, but they're unelected, right? The International Energy Agency, which was captured a long time ago, and OLEG'd. I'm feeling much more confident. How about you? Conference of Parties 30 Health Pavilion. Like World Health Organization is United Nations. UNSCLEAR is United Nations, the IPRC is United Nations, IRPA is the United Nations, International Atomic Energy Agency is United Nations. Everybody down there is hoping to get a job at the United Nations at some point in the future on top of that. The World Health Organization, in collaboration with Wellcome. Remember that? We've covered them a few years back. I went a little deeper down that rabbit hole, just out of curiosity. Wellcome has now, they've been collabing with a lot of things with the United Nations for a long time, right? This was a original pharmaceutical tycoon who left his money in a foundation. The foundation was taken over by the industries, like most foundations, right? And then used as a weapon. Wellcome supports discovery, research into life, and they're taking on the 3 worldwide health challenges. They're taking it on. They don't need anybody. They're going to do it themselves. Mental health. Radioactive fallout is definitely a problem, mental health-wise. The first studies they do after a nuclear accident are autism and Down syndrome. And of course, the cancer epidemic started after the nuclear open-air testing. Even the underground testing is still, everything is vented into the environment at enormous speeds. You know, and you can argue it was safer to detonate the bombs above ground than it was underground because, you know, it's a known fact that the underground nuclear testing changed the structure of water for 1,800 miles circumference. And, you know, all the plants and animals and insects are dependent upon structured water, not unstructured water. And that the underground testing have left radioactive aquifers that some of these holes underground are still at 400 or 500 degree temperatures, and they're very radioactive. And the radiation now is, that kind of radiation has radioactive fallout, because every time it rains, it goes down into these big, you know, holes, splits in the earth and everything, and that runs into the aquifers. So it caused incredible problems forever. Mental health, and of course it atomizes the aerosols, ionizes and radiates absurd amount of rocks and everything underground, and atomize, and that's released into the environment as radioactive particulates. And the climate. Well, they're in the right place, I guess. And health and infectious disease. I mean, they literally sound like they're United Nations, don't they? We're a global charitable foundation established in 1936 after the death of Sir, you know, better than me or you, Henry Wellcome. In his will, he left us 3 important things. His wealth. Well, who did he leave it to? He left it to a foundation that has been overtaken by an industry, right? With an agenda not compatible with humans. And our mission to improve health through research. Well, you've been at it since 1936, so where's your evidence that you had any kind of effect whatsoever? Surely you had enough time. I'm trying to be sarcastic. Surely you had enough time. You know, 90 years later and you have nothing to show for it. Oh, we gave out a lot of grants, Dana. Okay, well, that's cool. Today, Wellcome supports science to solve the urgent health challenges. Why is there an urgent health challenge? Where did that come from? Why is everybody unhealthy all of a sudden? Could it be the reactor meltdowns in 2011? They don't try to save the species, I notice. Urgent health challenges facing everybody. Well, what do you mean health challenges facing everyone, sir? Ma'am? What does that mean? Urgent health challenges facing everyone. That's a very strange way to frame that narrative. It's a pretty strange thing to say, isn't it? Urgent health challenges. Urgent. Excuse me. I just couldn't see the monitor in front of me. I had it a little bit too close. My apologies. I can imagine what the censorship is going to be like tonight. Pretty rough. 13 viewers and 11 likes for a show I typically do 5 days a week. Should geothermal narrative replace small modular reactors at Conference of Parties 30? Because geothermal exists and small modular reactors don't. Just a thought. I don't want to be pushy or something. I'm enjoying my censorship for the last, since we started research expeditions, heavy censorship. 3, to find solutions for the climate. I can't remember, they got $38 billion or something. So why don't they get rid of the big buildings and all the land they acquired, sell all that off, take all the money and build geothermal, right? That would be a bigger benefit than playing the games they're playing. They said they're an independent charitable foundation who's aligned with United Nations, which is 195 militaries. Our work is funded from an investment portfolio that currently stands at $37.6 billion. An investment portfolio. I believe they're on the stock market, aren't they? I'm not sure what their product is, but they had a YouTube channel. It does way better than mine, I can tell you that much. And look what they're up to. They're up to a lot of naughty stuff. They're basically, well, autism. It's really bizarre, the stuff that they're focused on controlling every aspect of everybody's lives. But we don't see any results. They haven't showed us any results. And when I say any, I mean none, nothing. It's based in London, United Kingdom. Well, there you go. There can't be anything good about them if they're a corporation from the most corrupt place on the planet. To solve the urgent health challenges facing everyone. Like, why would they say that? What urgent health challenge is facing everyone? Obesity rates in the United States are at 74%. In Canada, it's at 80-something%. Now, these numbers are post-Fukushima radioactive fallout. Excessive weight gain after a nuclear event is a marker of radioactive brain damage, right? So 74% of the Americans have confirmed radioactive brain damage and 80+% of Canadians. And you can be sure that's not the only places. Making it the 4th wealthiest charitable foundation in the world that was taken over immediately by the globalists and then used as a weapon now to attack us instead of coming up with real solutions. Like a charitable foundation is like Mr. Beast. He's out there putting water in villages that don't have water. He's actually doing something, right? These people are not doing nothing. They're looking for ways to track, trace, and database every facet of your life and then find a way to work against you. The 4th wealthiest charitable foundation in the world is paired up with United Nations. Originally called the borough's Wellcome, later renamed in the United Kingdom as the Wellcome Foundation. AVON, longitudinal study of parents and children. AVON, Alpha, Victor, Oscar, November. A cohort study of children born in England during 1991 and 1992. A cohort study of children born after a major nuclear accident 2 years before that. I wonder what that could be. Some coincidence. The Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. 6 out of 10 Fukushima children have diabetes. And the head of the medical clinic in Tokyo said they were expecting diabetes from the children of Fukushima. I wasn't going to do a show tonight. I'm just not feeling good. So apologize for not being. Let me see if I can find that for you. Hang on here. Is that it? No. Hang on, I'll find it. It's there somewhere. Is that it there? No. Hang on, I'll get it. 6 out of 10 Fukushima children have diabetes after Fukushima. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Bear with me. That's it? No, I'm sorry. We're looking for the 6 out of 10 children have diabetes at Fukushima after Fukushima meltdown. So once I find that, then you can appreciate what I'm trying to articulate once I try it. I gotta find it there somewhere. La da 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 da. Is that it there? No. No, we're not looking for that stuff. That don't matter. We're looking for the one that's 6 out of 10 children have diabetes. Hang on here. I'll find it. Gotta have some faith in Dana once in a while. I could do this. Let me see here. That's actually 358,000 out of a million. It used to be 1 in a million before Fukushima. But that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about 6 out of 10 children have diabetes at Fukushima. That's the one we're looking for. We'll find it. Even if it takes all night, I'll find it. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. No, that's not it. Hang on. We're almost through. You got to be there somewhere. If I can't find it, then well, let me try something else. If I don't find it in a few minutes, we'll try something else. I got it there somewhere. La da 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 da. I don't know. I got no idea what I'm going to know. Let me try this one more time. How's everybody doing these days? Good, I hope. Let me try the other hard drive. I can't find it on that one for some reason. Oh, I didn't type in. I didn't plug that in or what? I plugged it in. Man. Make me work for tonight. Hang on. Why does everything hurt? I was down at conference parties eating the last dodo birds and the last of the caviar from the sturgeons. I'll probably be feeling a bit better. Let me go backwards here. Diabetes Research Foundation. 6 out of 10 Fukushima children have diabetes. I think I mentioned it today. Try it one time. I didn't type. I guess that's one of those nights here. Let's keep going. You have to take my word for it. 6 out of 10 Fukushima children in the first year had diabetes. There was 865,000 extra cancers in the first year in Japan. Let me show you that before we keep going here. Yes, 865,000 extra cancers in the first year. Of course, not everybody got diagnosed. Not everybody has health care. They have UK Biobank. This is the wellness company. Excuse me. The Wellcome Trust collaborated with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. $8 billion in new funding research. $8 billion. I haven't seen any evidence they've fixed or cured anything, by the way. After almost 90 years, I have seen evidence of them carrying out human lab rat studies the entire time, mind you. So they fund a lot of dubious academics and scientists, I noticed. Wellcome Global Monitor. They're a global monitor. Does that sound like a typical foundation? Does that sound like some kind of weird organization that doesn't... the 2018 Global Survey on Public Attitudes Towards Science and Health. The Global Survey on Public Attitudes. Wellcome released in June 2019 the results of the 2018 Global Survey on Public Attitudes. Well, that's something humanity definitely needed, wasn't it? Topics included trust of corrupt scientists, corrupt doctors, corrupt nurses, religion and science, and vaccines. So how do you go from doctors, nurses, religion and science, and then vaccines? Why does which one doesn't belong with that equation right there? Farm business, renamed Farm Care. Farm Care. They actually sound like Bill Gates, don't they? In the context of COVID-19, the trust had investments in pharmaceutical companies. This was criticism. Involved in development and delivery of treatments, which mean that it potentially gain financially where those treatments are monetized. Well, they're not doing it for pennies. They're definitely not who they claim to be, from what I'm seeing. They're very well structured. They're structured just like UN in many ways. They have all these subsidies, right? Yeah. Well, like, the weight gain we're seeing worldwide is not from people eating themselves crazy. It's radioactive brain damage from radioactive fallout, right? It's a hormone thyroid issue that's causing, right? It's not, like I never changed my diet at all. In 2019, I was 160 pounds. In 2020, I was 160. In 2021, my weight just went crazy right out of the blue. My diet didn't change. In 2010, I was 160. In 2000, I was 160. In 1995, I was 155 pounds. 1990, I was 150 pounds. 1985, I was 145 pounds. Right, and then just in a 1 year period, my weight went skyrocketed right out of the blue. Like 70% of the Canadians, 80% of the Canadians, and 74% of the Americans. Just because somebody's overweight, that doesn't mean that it takes a long time to gain that kind of weight traditionally, just eating. Where I'm to, you can't find anybody that looks normal, healthy. You can't find it. If you go to the mall, you won't find a single person that looks healthy. Not a kid, nobody, not even babies. They're all plump. They all look like tomatoes or grapes. If you go to the supermarket, it's everybody there is obese. Everybody. So there's got to be something else going on. Maybe wellness got something. They're trying to solve the health issues the urgent health for everybody worldwide. Wellcome has established a strategic partnership with the United Nations climate change. A new partnership between Wellcome and UN Climate Change puts people health at the heart of climate action. So why are they so fixated with your health? Pretty wild, eh? New partnership between Wellcome and UN Climate Change puts people health at the center of climate change. That story was the 4th of November this month. A record 154,000 deaths were linked to air pollution from wildfire smoke in 2024. 154,000, which was a major increase. And the smoke was caused because the radioactive fallout killed the bacteria in the forests and the meadows worldwide from Japan. And the foliage the radioactive killed the bacteria, the fungus, the biotas. So you're not breaking down foliage and litter anymore on this planet except for a few places. And what that means, of course, is that the Earth is not soaking up water. So it's not able to, like the forest fires we had here this year were burning in the wintertime. I've never seen that anywhere on the planet before. And we had droughts right up until about a week ago. We're in November. We've never seen that before. If all the ponds, we have an enormous amount of ponds here. Nobody's ever seen them that shallow before, right? A lot of ponds were dried out. We've never seen that before. And the earth is, and so when you get lightning strikes, all that foliage and litter that's not breaking down post-Fukushima, and it's tinder dry, it's not supposed to exist, will wafer and travel thousands of feet, and you have this big flame land on this tinder dry ground. The ground doesn't perspire in the morning because it's not soaking up water. It doesn't have the bacteria and the fungus or the biota anymore. And so we're in real trouble on this planet post-Fukushima. So 154 people died linked to air pollution from wildfire. How do you do that, I wonder? How do you link that? How does that actually work? Did I mention that there was 865,000 extra cancers in Japan in the first year? Not 154,000. So if you got this many cancers being diagnosed, you got to remember not everybody got healthcare, not everybody was diagnosed. So incredible, there would have been 1 million people probably died that didn't have healthcare, wasn't diagnosed. And it's not just cancer from radiation fallout. So the World Health Organization, United Nations, Bill Gates, Wellcome, and the Rockefeller Foundation to get poor nations genomic capacity. Get poor nations. They can't defend themselves from the globalists. It's a perfect way to invade countries and impoverished countries, have a pandemic, and then now ingratiate yourself or just impose yourself on economically starved nations and countries. But that's an insane, well, WHO is UN. So it's weird to have both of them there as some kind of arbiter. World Health Organization / UN, Bill Gates, Wellcome, and the Rockefeller Foundation. My goodness. My goodness, eh? We're not talking about anything good in that combination at all. We're talking about a very powerful, influential, very wealthy combination that has a terrible track record of hurting humanity and hurting the species. What was the carbon footprint of United Nations assault upon North Korea? I wonder. They fired more munitions than all of World War II on that little tiny country that was captured. It was that was captured by Japan, occupied by Japan for 50 years. So when Nagasaki and Hiroshima happened, Japan had to leave the imprisoned North Korea. So the United Nations had just changed their name from League of Nations and decided that now that they have a new name, they're just going to go bomb this nation into submission. And because they couldn't win that fight, they ended up having to leave. They ostracized that country for over 70 years. So 120 years North Korea has been ostracized. So what's the carbon footprint for not being able to assess their resources and trade? What's the so-called carbon footprint for what United Nations done there for their entire legacy, all the people that died, the millions that are dead, the millions missing, the millions in refugee camps, the millions unaccounted for, the millions of orphans? What's the carbon footprint of the hundreds and hundreds of subsidy companies of United Nations? What's their carbon footprint total, I wonder? All the planes, all the fuel they burn, all the monetary, all the emissions, all the consumption, all the food and resources, all the electricity that United Nations is a global entity, World Health Organization, United Nations, Gates, Wellcome, Rockefeller Foundation. What's their carbon footprint total, I wonder, of their legacy? It's a lot bigger than the poor nations that they're targeting, I can assure you. I think it's quite clear that they're nobody's friend. That's who these people are. They're their own worst enemies on top of that. The fund is hosted by United Nations Foundation. United Nations Foundation. Well, United Nations is not a foundation. And it's not an arbiter either. And supported by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which are divorced because Bill liked kids, and the Rockefeller Foundation and Wellcome. Wellcome statement in response to the new Conference of Parties 28 deal. And halt the climate crisis. Halt. So there's no evidence they even tried, no evidence that they even got a solution or looking for a solution. They're just using it as an excuse to get into countries and do things that a corporation has no right to be doing. Their legacy is zero. I don't see them bragging about any legacy whatsoever. I see them targeting the same stuff that the globalists target in order to control the population. I don't see them coming up with any solutions. Nada, nothing, zero, zilch. Wellcome Collection, Nuclear Energy. So finally I found their site. They were promoting 96 books about nuclear. So I guess we know who Wellness actually is. 96 books, on nuclear. Essential reading to brainwash anybody, I guess. These are all the pro-nuclear books. There's no dissenting voices allowed. I got 11 viewers, 9 viewers. I got even less. I got 9 viewers. 9 viewers. Wow. 15 likes. Should geothermal narrative replace small modular reactors at conference of parties? Major censorship, Lots of nuclear. They got nuclear books for everybody. As Conference of Parties kicks off, should young people feel optimistic about fighting climate change? It's interesting how they love targeting children, isn't it? They seem fixated on that for some reason. There is no planet B. So what the hell are you doing at United Nations then? If you want solutions, you're not going to find them there. The Trump administration's erosive anti-environmental agenda hasn't stopped. That was the first sentence of the first paragraph of many stories. So they're trying to enforce that just because the United States is not here, that don't mean we can't do something. That's what that was all about. The UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. United Nations Framework Convention. So you're not allowed to challenge their assertions or their narratives. You're not allowed to have a debate about it. They can't make a mistake, no matter who and what says. As long as you're associated with the United Nations, you're right, no matter what it is. And then the people that are censoring for them, the minute they see me, they're going to go, "Hey, we got to get rid of him." He's not a team player. He doesn't lie. A 2024 study in the Lancet noted there's 4.3 million studies every year in North America. Why should we care about that one? 57.9% of Americans aged 18 to 25 are very or extremely worried about climate change. Are very or extremely. I don't know a single 18 to 25-year-old that told me they were extremely worried. Except for where they're going to go on Friday night to party. Climate change has adverse effects on youth mental health. Why would that have adverse effects on youth's mental health? Blocking the sunlight, chemtrails might have that same effect, mind you, but Conference of Parties 30 chemtrails or geoengineering or climate mitigation. I couldn't find any. I never got a single result. So typical if you search Google, and if you put in Conference of Parties, you'll get millions of returns, right? If you put in chemtrails, you get millions of returns. If you put in Conference of Parties 30 chemtrails, you get nothing. Nothing. You don't get a single on Google. Have you ever searched anything on Google and not get a single return? Theoretically, I thought that was impossible. Conference of Parties 30, Constipated Party 30, the latest in climate science. The latest in climate science. The latest in climate science. And anybody who tells you that they understand the climate is full of crap. For faster warming, because you've been releasing radiation into the ecosystem. Think of these plumes. This is a 20-day model of plutonium fallout. Well, Neptunium-239. After 2.5 days, it starts decaying by 50% to plutonium-239. This is radioactive fallout from Fukushima. Now, it's not based on the actual emissions or nothing. A lot of it is captured by the forests and the meadows. So when you have a forest fire, you're releasing it. Now, we've always had forest fires. Before any humans set foot on this planet, we had forest fires all the time. That's what lightning strikes do. And we have an awful amount of lightning strikes every day on the planet. But the forest fires we're seeing, you see how they're spread out over a whole bunch of areas? Why are those forest fires? The wind is blowing this way, right? Blowing that way. So how can the forest fire jump to the left, for instance? Do you know what I mean? Because that's what they're trying to portray there, right? So if you got a forest fire right here, how does it jump to right there? How does it jump across to right here? How does it jump to right there? How does it jump to right there? You know what I mean? Like the wind's blowing this way. It's not blowing that way. But regardless, the forest will release the radiation they've been collecting for 80 years. 80 years. And they've been collecting, trust me. The United States with extremely large peaks of Fukushima radioactive material, significant amount of plutonium released for months. Well, significant looks like that. That's the plutonium releases. It decays to plutonium after 2.5 days. It does that 10 times. There's 10 decays. And so after 25 days, that plume is all plutonium-239. Measured globally and blanketed the entire northern hemisphere. No, it blanketed the entire planet. And so carbon doesn't pulse energy every second. Plutonium does. radiation, any kind of anthropogenic man-made radiation is pulsing energy almost at the speed of light every second. So cesium, this was the French government radioactive fallout study of a spike of 10 million atoms per cubic meter of air. Each atom is pulsing energy 600 feet every second. Gas, oil, and coal emissions don't do that, and they don't make plumes that covers the planet. Have you ever seen a plume of carbon covering the planet? Radiation is the only plume, not sand from the Sahara Desert, not anthropogenic industry pollutions from the other side of the Pacific or Atlantic or something like that. It will make it across the ocean, but it doesn't have those attributes. So all cesium released is still out there in one isotope or another, pulsing energy at the speed of light for millions of years. All the plutonium isotopes, these are 20-day models each, is pulsing energy at the speed of light for millions of years. Even when it decays to plutonium lead, or radioactive lead, 10 decays later, thousands, hundreds of thousands of years later, that lead is still anthropogenic man-made lead. And there's nothing on the planet with an autoimmune trigger to defend against anthropogenic man-made isotopes. Ooh. Da, 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 da. Let me see here. Dana Durnford, I was just talking about Jacinda, former Prime Minister of New Zealand. One of the strangest comments I've ever heard. It might get loud. Let me check that for you.
We heard Dr. Bloomfield at the beginning of the week mentioned the side effects that people experience with vaccines, which we all have come to expect, a sign that the vaccine's doing what it should. He did note that they appear to be of a lesser degree for the booster than, for instance, say the second. So if that's cause for anyone's hesitancy, I thought it was a notable...
That is some scary shit. We're expecting the side effects. Yeah, well, the Fisher story on the side effects now are just holy shit. Like, holy shit. She's a revolting parasite, isn't she? We got videos of her that are just absurd. Here's my folder on health. So 579 videos on health. $579 videos on health. Let me see here. I got those progressive glasses, and they're just worst thing I've ever had. Sometimes they're really good. For like up close, they're great, or far away, they're fine. Just hang on a second here. There we go. These are all vaccine injuries. Why nobody has a personality anymore. COVID proved most people don't have the ability to reason. The jabbed, the stabbed, the vaxxed, pineal glands are destroyed and their personalities are changing. Pfizer vaccine is a weapon. AstraZeneca finally confesses that their vaccine has killed millions of British people. Another pathologist found the pineal glands were completely destroyed in all the people who were vaxxed. People didn't take the vaccine because they didn't want their genes edited. These are all mostly doctors. Remember when the medical staff spent tons of time learning to dance? Remember those videos? Better get rid of the music. Remember that? The hospitals were so full they were practicing in the parking lots, huh? All the patients were in the hospitals dying from the vaccines and the respirators. And they're all out there dancing. They got hospitals, they're so busy they can't do anything, but they had enough time to choreograph all these videos all over the world. It was the strangest thing I ever saw. Why did common sense vanish after COVID-19? 27 peer-reviewed doctors stated 100% of those who vaccinated will die by 2028. We did not receive any apologies from the ruling class that lied to us repeatedly during COVID. The kill shot, COVID, hall of shame. Never again question everything. Think about this. Pfizer stopped testing the vaccines on animals because they kept dying. This is a nurse who quit because she couldn't keep killing people with the vaccines for money. Government basically ordered the hospitals, this was a doctor, to murder the unvaccinated. Dr. Paul Thomas, it's really clear you get a vaccine, your infant dies. Yeah, the infant mortality rates for vaccinated was horrific. It was horrific. Pediatricians making over $1 million per year from just pushing vaccines. Birds cannot get influenza, by the way. You should watch that video. Dr. Mike Yeadon. Everybody got fat during COVID. Vaccinated people are more... Let me see. Heroes, the unvaccinated. Let me play that clip. That's a good clip. I'm unvaccinated. Oh, hang on. Hang on, I'll get there. I'll turn it off here.
Welcome back to Wake Up Canada News. I'm Brad Wilder. As we continue to wait and hope that more and more people wake up every single day, some that took the bait are now starting to realize that we, the COVID unvaccinated, weren't all wrong. This is that message to you, the unvaccinated. Even if I were pollinated and fully vaccinated, I would admire the unvaccinated for withstanding the greatest pressure I've ever seen. From partners, parents, children, friends, colleagues, and even doctors. People who are capable of such personality, courage, and critical ability are undoubtedly the best part of humanity. They are everywhere, in all ages, levels of education, states, and ideas. They are of a special kind. They are the soldiers that every army of light wants to have in its ranks. They are the parent that every child wants to have, and the children that every parent dreams of having. They are beings above the average of their societies. They are the essence of the people who have, built all cultures and conquered horizons. They are there, next to you. They look normal, but they are superheroes. They did what others could not. They were the tree that withstood the hurricane of insults, discrimination, and social exclusion. And they did it because they thought they were alone. And they believed that, they were the only ones. Banned from their families' tables at Christmas, they never saw anything so cruel. They lost their jobs, let their careers sink, had no more money, but they didn't care. They suffered immeasurable discrimination, denunciation, betrayal, and humiliation, but they kept on going. Never before in humanity has there been such a casting. Now, we all know who are the best. Men, women, young, old, rich, poor, of all races or religions, the unvaccinated, the chosen of the invisible ark, the only ones who managed to resist when everything collapsed. That's you. You passed an unimaginable test that many of the toughest Marines, commandos, Green Berets, astronauts, and even geniuses could not withstand. You are made of the stuff of the greatest who ever lived. Those heroes born among ordinary men who glow in the dark. Remember, you're the voice, and it's time to make it count. I'm Brad Wilder. Thanks for watching. This is Canada News. Till next time.
There's another video. Let me see if I can find it that I wouldn't mind playing. Unvaccinated women are 66% less likely to give birth, or vaccinated are 66% less likely to give birth compared to the unvaccinated. Remember that one? Nobody is safe. Well, everybody's safe now. There's the video. This was Del Beaktree was reading a post by another person, and somebody put it together to a great video. Let's play that.
My message to unvaccinated Americans is this. What more is there to wait for? What more do you need to see? We've made vaccinations free, safe, and convenient. The vaccine has FDA approval. Over 200 million Americans have gotten at least one shot. We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin, and your refusal has cost all of us. Get vaccinated.
So you basically said this is going to be like, well, it's almost like, you probably don't see it like this, the two different classes of people. If you're vaccinated or if you're unvaccinated, you have all these rights. If you are vaccinated...
That is what it is, so, yep.
Yeah, if you are anti-mandate, you are absolutely anti-vax. I don't care what your personal vaccination status is. If you support, champion, give a green light, give comfort to, support anybody who argues against the vaccine, you are an anti-vaxxer. Absolutely. Your personal vaccination status is utterly irrelevant. If you campaign against the mandate, if If you campaign against people
the sadistic
being vaccinated
demon.
in vulnerable settings, teachers in classrooms, I'll be really clear, at that point in time, people were actually supporting the idea of a teacher being unvaccinated in a remote community classroom with kids who cannot be vaccinated. I reject that. I still reject it. And if you are out there in any way, shape or form campaigning against this mandate, you are absolutely anti-vax.
Dear supporters and dear followers, today an Austrian newspaper published the rules the government wants to introduce on the 1st of January already here in Austria. Those rules say that if you're not vaccinated, you can get fined up to 2,000 euros each time you're caught unvaccinated. This can mean, and this is explicitly being said so, that you can also get fined more than once a day, also 3 times, 4 times, 5 times if you're unvaccinated. If you refuse to pay this, the government wants to put us into a separate prison, which has to be created for unvaccinated people up to 1 year.
Get off of me! Get off! Let go of his vest. Let go of his vest. He's fucking choking me! He's choking me! What the fuck? Let go of his vest. Fuck off me! Get the fuck him! Stop! Fuck you, bitch! Get the fuck off me! What are you doing? You're fucking choking me, dude! What the fuck?
If COVID was a battlefield, it would still be warm with the bodies of the unvaccinated. Thankfully, the mandates are letting up and both sides of the war stumble back to the new normal. The unvaccinated are the heroes of the last 2 years, as they allowed us all to have a control group in the great experiment and highlight the shortcomings of the COVID vaccines. The unvaccinated carry many battle scars and injuries, as they are the people we tried to mentally break. Yet no one wants to talk about what we did to them and what they forced the science to unveil. We knew that the waning immunity of the fully vaccinated had the same risk profile as others within society as the minority of the unvaccinated, yet we marked them for special persecution. You see, we said that they had not done the right thing for the greater good by handing their bodies and medical autonomy over to the state. Many of the so-called health experts and political leaders in Australia admitted the goal was to make life almost unlivable for the unvaccinated, which was multiplied many times by the collective mob, with the fight taken into workplaces, friendships, and family gatherings. Today, the hard truth is none of it was justified, as we took a quick slide from righteousness to absolute cruelty. We might lay the blame on our leaders and health experts for the push, but each individual within society must be held accountable for stepping into the well-laid-out trap. We did this despite knowing full well that principled opposition is priceless when it comes to what goes inside our bodies, and we let ourselves be tricked into believing that going into another ineffective lockdown would be the fault of the unvaccinated and not the fault of the toxic policy of ineffective vaccines. We took pleasure in scapegoating the unvaccinated because after months of engineered lockdowns by political leaders blinded by power, having someone to blame and turn to burn at the stake felt good. We believed we had logic, love, and truth on our side, so it was easy to wish death upon the unvaccinated. Those of us who ridiculed and mocked the non-compliant did it because we were embarrassed by their courage and principles and didn't think the unvaccinated would make it through unbroken. And we turned the holdouts into punching bags. Lambie, Carr, Chant, Andrews, McGowan, Gunner, and the other cast of hundreds in prominent roles, and we here in America, we could add Fauci and the rest of them, and Biden in prominent roles need to be held to account for vilifying the unvaccinated in public and fueling angry social media mobs. The mobs, the masked Nazis, and the vaccine disciples have been embarrassed by betting against the unvaccinated because mandates only had the power we gave them. It was not compliance that ended domination by big pharma companies, Bill Gates and his many organizations, and the World Economic Forum. It was thanks to the people we tried to embarrass, ridicule, mock, and tear down. We should all try and find some inner gratitude for the unvaccinated as we took the bait by hating them because their perseverance and courage bought us the time to see we were wrong. So if mandates ever return for COVID or any other disease or virus, hopefully more of us will be awake and see the rising authoritarianism that has no concern for our well-being and is more about power and control. The war of the unvaccinated was lost. On the unvaccinated was lost. And we should all be very thankful for that.
Yeah, I agree, Dill. You know, I was ostracized. I wasn't allowed to go to funerals or to the hospital to visit my loved ones or for Christmas or birthdays. I was ostracized. And I don't speak to anybody in my family today because of what they done to me. I'm not the bad person. I never was. For trying to have a conversation. Well, I'm not going to play all of this, but I think you should watch some of that video right there. Now, that speech Dylan Beltry was reading was by a vaccinated Australian with the luxury of hindsight, applauded the unvaccinated for having a population that could be measured for health issues. I mean, people call for the death of the unvaccinated. Nobody is safe.
We want to make sure that people can discern the truth from the misinformation. And we want to make sure that everyone understands that no one's safe till everyone's safe.
No one is safe.
No one is safe.
No one is safe. No one is safe.
No one is safe.
Nobody's safe.
No one is safe.
Nobody is safe.
This is a post 9/11 axiom. Safer, but not yet safe.
No one is safe. No one is safe. No one is safe. No one is safe from COVID-19 until everyone is safe.
If the whole world isn't safe, none of us are safe.
No one is safe.
No one is safe.
Nobody is safe.
Until we're all safe.
Health experts have been saying nobody is safe.
Nobody is safe until everybody is safe.
Nobody is safe.
The science is clear.
None of us are safe.
There is no safety.
No one is safe.
No one is safe. No one is safe. No one is safe until everyone is safe.
No one's safe.
Nobody is safe. Nobody's safe.
No one's safe.
We'll never be safe
until we're all safe.
We are never going to be safe.
99.5% of people are safe and will survive COVID-19.
The only positive thing out of this is we should be able to manufacture a lot of vaccines, and
nobody will be safe if not everybody is vaccinated.
You don't have a choice.
As long as not everybody is vaccinated, nobody will be safe.
Normalcy only returns when we've largely vaccinated the entire global population. So
get the fucking vaccine.
You need to get vaccinated. vaccinated, and if you don't, you are going to die.
I know you're vaccinated. You're the smart ones, but you know there's people out there who aren't listening to God and what God wants. You know who they are.
The unvaccinated people.
My message to unvaccinated Americans is this.
If you are the unvaccinated, you are the problem.
You're the problem.
Condemn them, shame them, blame them.
The only people that you can blame are the unvaccinated.
Frankly, we can't trust the unvaccinated.
They should not be part of polite society.
Lunatics who won't take COVID vaccines walking around lawfully unvaccinated? That's psychotic.
If you're willing to walk among us unvaccinated, you are an enemy. You have no right not to be vaccinated.
You don't have the right to contaminate someone else.
You can't go around pointing a gun in somebody's face, which is what it is when people are unvaccinated.
They are all idiots and losers.
This is a real movement in this country against the unvaccinated.
Jennifer Aniston is cutting non-vaccinated people out of her life.
Unrepentant, unvaccinated.
They should be removed from the hospital.
Those who refuse to be vaccinated should be denied health care.
Vaccinated person having a heart attack? Yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy, rest in peace, Wheezy.
Some doctors are saying they'll refuse treatment for people who choose not to get the shot.
Why are hospital and ICU resources going to them?
Morons who will not get the shot.
The unvaccinated clowns. Idiots who think that they can do their own research.
Don't do any of your own research.
Doing your own research is associated with conspiracy theory circles. This go-it-alone approach, doing your own research, that can have serious consequences. You should get prison time for even questioning the vaccines.
Can we all stop saying, I need to do my own research?
That phrase, do your own research, is 4 words. 4 little words that are hurting America. Doing your own research hurts America! Everybody has a supercomputer in their hand that empowers them to do their own research, and that's the problem. You must not do your own research.
I need to do my own research.
I don't understand what that means. I'm doing my own research. You can't do your own research unless you're a scientist. Do your own research.
Maybe you've told yourself you're playing it safe, you just want to wait and see since this is a new vaccine. No.
Grow the up and get the vaccine.
Unvaccinated people spread the virus.
Get the vaccine, you dopes!
Don't be a get yourself vaccinated. That's just all there is to it.
There's no excuse.
No excuse for being unvaccinated.
There's no rational and no emotional argument that adds up against getting your damn shot. There just isn't.
But you made a conscious decision not to get the vaccine.
I also have natural immunity. So for me, personally, this vaccine poses a greater risk than a benefit. I'm also not a risk to any of you. Let's look at the science.
So we see that the natural infection is given greater protection or slightly greater protection than vaccination.
This is a vaccine that was created to prevent severity of disease and to prevent hospitalizations. But the vaccine does not prevent you from getting COVID and does not prevent you from transmitting COVID.
Oh my goodness.
Reality.
No,
we have
that's
seen that.
not so. Come on. No, you've been at Fox TV
you
too long.
Have to joy.
I just really don't think that we should allow
Sonny,
this kind of misinformation.
Mr. Sandman, get the vaccine so that you don't get COVID-19. We poke ya while we poke ya, so you don't get corona.
When we poke ya, well, we know you're gonna be safe from COVID infecting you.
The virus stops with every vaccinated person.
Do it so you stop spreading terrible disease.
And that vaccine, a key goal is to stop the transmission so that you get almost no infection going on whatsoever.
Expectation for vaccines is not to get infected.
A vaccinated person gets exposed to the virus does not infect them.
When the virus gets to you, you stop it.
You're not going to catch it. You're not going to get sick. You're not going to transmit it.
The vaccine is absolutely bulletproof.
Vaccines block you from getting and giving the virus.
100% effective at preventing COVID.
A vaccine prevents you from getting infected.
It is to keep you from getting it and then spreading it.
We have the ability to stop COVID in its tracks.
You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
Biden tests positive for COVID-19.
When people are vaccinated, they can feel safe that they are not going to get infected.
Dr. Fauci tests positive for COVID-19.
Vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick.
CDC director tests positive for COVID-19.
Get your vaccine.
Pfizer CEO tests positive for COVID. Pfizer CEO tests positive for COVID again. CDC director tests positive for COVID again. Fauci tests positive for COVID again. Joe Biden tests positive for COVID again.
Cases up 200%
258%. The majority of these cases are among the vaccinated. And this area is the most vaccinated part of Massachusetts.
So many fully vaccinated people are testing positive.
So people here are a bit angry.
We are all really concerned about what this means long term.
I was vaccinated and I got COVID, and almost everyone we know with vaccinations had at least one bout of it.
Our vaccines work better than we could have possibly hoped they would work.
We are not the problem. The problem are the unvaccinated.
The unvaccinated threat.
Unvaccinated people are a threat, a direct threat.
The threat to all of us.
The unvaccinated are a risk to all of us.
People have a right to be protected from the unvaccinated.
Maybe there should be laws that allow them to be kept out of the building.
So at least, thankfully, they're not breathing the same air.
Their freedom to breathe will diminish. Start firing the unvaccinated.
If you don't vaccinate, you'll be fired.
Time to come down on the unvaccinated.
And they should be banned from the VA, banned from restaurants, banned from other businesses and colleges.
Companies should not treat us as equals.
Place unvaccinated people under arrest.
It is the unvaccinated that has put America in the place that it is.
We are losing freedom because people are unvaccinated.
Anger towards the unvaccinated. I'm furious at the unvaccinated.
Frustrated with Americans still not vaccinated.
Not to be vaccinated seems criminal.
Suspects face years behind bars for coughing on police officers.
Their freedom.
For them charged with terrorist threats.
You have no individual rights when it comes to the vaccine.
Really, you're killing other people.
We're being attacked by unvaccinated.
The unvaccinated who aren't wearing masks. It's the unvaccinated who aren't social distancing. It's the unvaccinated going to crowded indoor events.
It is not your right as an American citizen to catch and transmit a potentially fatal infection.
So screw your freedom. We can coerce you.
You're not going to be able to travel to see your family. If someone in your family isn't vaccinated, should you ask them not to show up?
Yes, you really shouldn't have anyone unvaccinated come to dinner. That's just a huge risk.
If you want to come out into public, if you want to live your life, you need to get the vaccination.
It's time for people to see vaccination as literally necessary.
You should have to show that you're vaccinated in order to go places.
Unvaccinated tennis player can't travel to the U.S.
If you're not vaccinated, you're not welcome.
Our patience is wearing thin.
Why hasn't the president focused more on scolding the unvaccinated?
The refusal has cost all of us.
Continued damage the unvaccinated are doing to themselves and the country.
How come migrants are allowed to come into this country unvaccinated, but world-class tennis players are not?
You know,
And back to our lead story, the
pandemic of the unvaccinated. Fact is, this is a
pandemic of the unvaccinated.
Experts call it
pandemic of the unvaccinated.
Still a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
The disease of the unvaccinated.
It is the unvaccinated who are the problem. Period. End of story.
The unvaccinated also put our economy at risk.
This is a tyranny of the unvaccinated right now.
The unvaccinated, not the vaccinated, the unvaccinated. That's the problem. That's the pandemic of the unvaccinated.
Pandemic of the unvaccinated.
All this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
The only pandemic we have is among the unvaccinated. Pandemic because of the unvaccinated.
When you get the vaccine, you will not die.
That's right. That's right.
This is a simple, basic proposition. If you're vaccinated, you're not going to die.
If you're vaccinated, you don't have a risk. It's as simple as black and white.
You are not going to die if you are vaccinated. That's it. Full stop.
You're unvaccinated, you're at risk. You're vaccinated, you're safe.
A majority of Americans dying from coronavirus are vaccinated. COVID-19 isn't a pandemic of the unvaccinated anymore.
We didn't really understand the fatality rate. We didn't understand that it's a fairly low fatality rate and that it's a disease mainly of the elderly, kind of like flu is, although a bit different.
We have two Americas, an unvaccinated, at-risk America and a vaccinated America.
I wear my vaccinated necklace all the time to say I'm vaccinated. You, the vaccinated, are the last best hope to overcome the unvaccinated minority. I need you to be my apostles. I need you to go out and talk about it. We are seeking to enlist you in a benevolent conspiracy to join in the unfinished war against the sins of the unvaccinated.
And it's a war.
A forever war. The war against COVID-19.
The vaccine hesitancy on Earth, too, has the potential to compromise all of the hard-fought progress that we've made here on Earth 1.
This is the greatest threat to life that we have ever faced.
Metropolitan areas are now banning all private gatherings. This bar owner arrested for reopening illegally.
Unvaccinated, we are looking at a winter of severe illness and death.
Yeah. For yourselves, your families.
If the unvaccinated are not to blame, who is?
If only we had a vaccine against BS.
A vital part of preparing for hurricane season is to get vaccinated now. Everything is more complicated if you're not vaccinated in a hurricane.
I think that sums it up pretty good. You're the problem, you unvaccinated bastards out there. Oh, wait a second, I'm unvaccinated. Like, I grew up, these people and the generation I grew up with never had vaccines, maybe for the idiot polio. If nobody got polio, how are you supposed to get it? A lot of money being made off that one vaccine, isn't it? Vaccines were designed to kill people. Harvard scientists caught taking bribes to publish fake research about the cause of heart attacks. I got a whole folder on professors that have went to the dark side, shall we say. Let me see here. 69 infants died after receiving infant Rex vaccine. No pun intended, I guess, is it? $1 trillion American taxpayer dollars were stolen during the pandemic. $1 trillion. The studies on blood before and after is just shocking, isn't it? French passport was, if you don't get a jab, you can't get food. Jailed them all. And the spike protein is replacing sperm in everybody. I never forget. The embalmers were explaining how they've seen this absurd and still ongoing die-off of the population from blood clots that the embalmers have never seen before. They've been doing it for decades. Have never seen nothing like it, heard nothing like it. And they're seeing that symmetrical throughout the funeral homes. Turbo cancer. A lot of the illnesses you can blame it, of course, on Fukushima, right? But the vax had incredible issues that had been identified, and the people that spoke out were, through the Biden administration, were just absolutely demonized everywhere. So if this video gets taken down, because I'm talking about it tonight, you'll find it on my BitChute channel. There's a link in the description. And if you take me down, don't forget that I'm out here struggling until I show back up, right? Don't forget I'm still trying to get back. I'll get back. I'll be posting every day up to BitChute if you take down this site for a week or something because of talking about COVID. Just go over to check in my description tonight, or go to my last video and check the description. You'll see a link to my BitChute channel, or you can just go there. You'll find me. I got a new site. It's verified. You'll know it's me. It's got a green badge on it. And the new version, not the old version. They've been killing old people with the flu shots for decades. There was another study. I was just looking for one more here, but 1,600 athletes die within a year after getting the vaccines. Apparently, it was a lot more than that. 9 out of 10 care home residents were prescribed end-of-life medication during lockdown. This is incredible assertion, isn't it? Well, studies have documented. But let's just give a military-industrial complex $1.3 trillion because they can never get enough money, that lot. They got 195 countries throwing money at them. 195. Oh, I get the yellow banner of death. There's not the yellow stream of death because we're talking about it. So this video, I'll probably take down my site for a week or even just take the site down because I dared talk about vaccines. How dare you? Or 911, you're not allowed to talk about that. Or, well, it seems we're going down that road. Just hang on a second. Let's break a few taboos. That was weird. Oh, it's on my other computer. They took down my site, so I can't show you that. My other site, my BitChute site, right? I forgot that. So Conference of Party 30. All the whales, grey whales, are emaciated. 14,000 of the 27,000 have died post-Fukushima. Not from the COVID shot, from radioactive fallout. Thousands of grey whales are in such poor shape. They were in poor shape last year when they began their 12,000-mile migration to the breeding grounds in Baja, New Mexico. No surviving babies made that trip. The whales we are seeing are extremely emaciated. You can't have some whales emaciated, the other one's healthy. Doesn't work that way. And it takes months and months, if not over a year, to get that extremely emaciated. They're so emaciated, in fact, you can see their shoulder blades and vertebrae even from the shorelines. Try wrapping one around that statement and the rib cages. We launched research expeditions after Fukushima for 6 straight years. 4 to 5 months a year on the ocean from Vancouver, British Columbia to Alaska. And the species to your left were exterminated. So we went back for 5 more years. Cesium remained dispersed throughout the water columns in 2012 from the surface to the ocean floor. And the species to the left, each species, they said, was getting cancer. And cancer was mutating from one species to another like a virus, from the sea urchins to the algae, to the clams, to the starfish, to the right from species to species. The to your left are exterminators. We went back for 5 more years to see if the species recovered. They didn't recover. But we've been noticing the food chain is broken. And now we documented this for 6 years, 4 to 5 months a year. And I provided GPS of everywhere it was to. This whale, this was a whale, died 2 weeks ago. And this is one of the grainy pictures that came out of India, which I'm sure wasn't an accident. Now, I've seen emaciated bride's whales, of lots of them post-Fukushima. That's one of them over there. I've never seen one this bad. We are seeing an acceleration in the emaciation of the whales. They're even more emaciated than we've ever seen before on top of that. And we've seen things we've never seen before post-Fukushima, symmetrically throughout the species. So this one was in Belgium. See the rib cage is sticking up? But I mean, you can see the shoulder blades, the peanut head, the incredibly thin tail, the unbelievably sharp defined lines is a definitive marker of emaciation, right? This is Christchurch a few months back. It's seriously emaciated animals, and you can see the rib cage. You only had a couple of decent, but they did acknowledge it in some of the stories. But the first 5 or 6 stories that came out, they didn't acknowledge the animals had starved. They were saying they didn't know why they died. But when you see severe emaciations like that and like this, is now common, and the grey whales, the humpback whales. Now, this is a humpback whale from a few days ago, and it shocked me because we're seeing so much of it. This is severe emaciation over 2 years because the whales were 2 years old. And so the whale was born to a very sick mother in the first place, and there was no food for the mother to produce the milk to nourish the whale. There was no phytoplankton or zooplankton, the basis of the food chain, the oxygen chain, the carbon sequestering chain, and the basis of the food chain for these species, right? What they eat is dependent upon that phytoplankton and zooplankton. But that's severe, horrific, and this is becoming normal now. We've never heard tell of anything like this. I mean, like that prize whale was only on the beach for about 5 days. And they just released a single grainy picture, because if you released a high definition picture of that whale, it would have blown your mind. It would have blown your mind. And the story acknowledges severe emaciation, right? Same as this animal here, this humpback whale. 7,000 humpback whales have shown up starving to death. But I mean, my goodness. The spinal column sticking straight up, all on its own. The rib cage is sticking out all on their own. That's unbelievable. If you cut the skin off that animal, there's no fat, there's no meat there. It actually consumed all the meat and fat in his body trying to survive. All the whales we're seeing are like this. That is burned into my conscience now. Starving humpback whale found dead. And it wasn't dead very long. That probably was alive when it came ashore. That's just the most surreal picture. And heartbreaking. And just frightening picture imaginable. All the gray whales are emaciated. Last year, they're showing up dead everywhere. And the experts are worried about ship strikes, which is only about 70 every year. The 7,000 humpback extra on top of an unusual mortality event starved to death. Heat wave, radioactive fallout is the same thing. That's what a radioactive fallout does. It causes a heat wave. And there were 70 whales died this year versus almost over half of the grey whales are dead from starvation. When it comes to ship strikes worldwide, 1,200 reports of collisions. That don't mean they all died since 2007. So biologists probed the death of 70 emaciated grey whales because you can't have half the population healthy, the other half emaciated. They're eating the same food, they're in the same... And that kind of food they eat doesn't just occupy a small area, it's symmetrical. Right, there's all kinds of other migratory species dependent on it too, right? So there's enough for all species, not just the one species. And they acknowledge starvation. Dead young whale that washed up in Australia, this is emaciated though. It showed up in the shark's net because that's where it floated to. That didn't die of entanglement. This is an emaciated bride's whale, 2023. When you compare it to the current emaciated bride's whale, it's mind-numbing. But see, that there is, to your left, is emaciated. That's an emaciated whale. The radioactive fallout is well established. If you go back to my videos, if you go back to the anniversary videos for 2025, March the 11th, I actually produced 14 anniversary videos, each on a different topic about Fukushima, with the documentation for my assertions. And I guess because I'm not handsome or pretty or wealthy, it doesn't matter. West Coast hit with 220 million atoms because research on, don't do your own research. Because you find stuff like this. I mean, the radioactive fallout, now there was 26 orcas that only got 6 headlines, and mostly the worst pictures conceivable. For the biggest die-off event in history, we got the worst type of pictures in Argentina. And the majority of the pictures are like this, they're useless. Or like this, they're like, that's useless stuff, right? There was some good footage of the original first 2 whales that showed up. And they tell you a different picture. So there was 2 washed up, and this is a picture of one of them. You can see the shoulder blades, the peanut head, and you can get a look at the tail, and I can't remember if you can or not, actually. No, you can't. But it died of emaciation. They only got 6 headlines. A recent recent whale death in British Columbia, Canada, of a baby whale, I found 14 headlines right away. 26 whales die, and you didn't get 26 pictures, you got 4 or 5 pictures actually. Different pictures, right? I think it was 13 or 14 headlines of the baby whale, but you only got 6 headlines of 26 whales, orca, which is the biggest die-off of orca whales in history. But the first pictures show you an emaciated whale. Right, the first pictures that they released are showing you that's an emaciated whale. All the whales are emaciated. All the birds have disappeared except for the migratory seabirds. We have 46 million migratory seabirds missing here. They didn't die of the jab. This whale didn't die of the jab. It died from starvation. And then you'll have a bunch of people that are incredibly insane control freaks. They find people like me, they just censor me. Because their little world, the truth causes them sleepless nights. They can't handle somebody that actually is honest person that doesn't work in their little world, right? They don't get the big dollars for being a human. They get it for being the worst human. My BitChute channel is back up. Did Dana say that there somewhere? Well, that would be interesting. I had started another channel, right? Just bear with me 1 second. I got nothing for my name on BitChute. Not even my new videos have showed up. Well, I got 2 of my new videos showed up, but so my old site is not back up. The link below my video is to my my new site that I started up a week ago, because they took down my other one with about 1,100 videos on it or something. I'm going to post this up, a video in its entirety, hopefully tonight or tomorrow morning at the latest, up at my BitChute backup channel. YouTube will let me have a backup channel. I've had 2 SIM cards with the new telephone address, numbers rather. And as soon as I put the link out of my video, they took the site down itself. Said against the rules of YouTube for a good person to have 2 channels. They hate me because they can't be a good person, see, and that drives them insane. So they have to try to destroy you because they can't look their friends or families in the eyes and claim they're good people. All right, so there's, like I said, one of those nights for me. Just remember one thing about the International Atomic Energy Agency. Anna Clark had said that the International Atomic Energy Agency is not a regulator, is not in a position to judge or approve Japan's soil recycling projects, or their water in that case, right? Japan gets UN nuclear watchdog approval, but they're not a watchdog. Japan has the final say, so they're not a watchdog. Even Grossi, and Grossi knows that is true. How can Grossi says he gives approval for the water release when he emphasizes that the document is neither a recommendation nor an endorsement, and that Japan government has the final say? So that's not the words of a watchdog. That's the words of a lobbying group for the nuclear industry. I'm not the bad person because I'm trying to do the right thing, I hope. but apparently I actually am. So we have no views tonight, no thumbs up, 16 likes, really, that's it. On the show I've been doing for over a decade. All right, so crazy censorship again tonight. They got nobody better to pick on, apparently. I'm the best, so pick on Dana. Constipated Party 30 kicks off in Brazil, focuses on money. Should geothermal narrative replace small modular reactors at Conference of Party 30 because they actually exist and small modular reactors don't? Is that a crazy assertion? Question? James put out some great songs. Nuclear Fashion Show was a response to a Canadian physicist, nuclear scientist, with a clothing line. James come out and tried to help her be more realistic, I think is one way to put it. The Advanced Nuclear Theater, that was a wonderful video. Wardrobe by Rostatan. I love the beat in that. Nuclear Embrittlement is fantastic. I'm torn between playing, because I got to shut the show down here in a few minutes, unfortunately. Let's see how it plays out. Take care. Don't forget to vote. You get the chance. Hugs for everybody.
Зателение активно, подиум закрыт. Плавучий АЭС, Hot Space Or. Разрешение силуэта, уровень 3, контроль зоны. Сегодня вечером мы моделируем контроль.
Sometimes I adjust the volume, so better go listen to it yourself.
She walks in isotope mesh, button shaped like fuel caps, cesium Hamlin fluttering low. Her heels were borrowed from Obninsk, first light, last rights, all eyes forward, no blinking. Threaded in protocol, crest with approval codes, modeled once, deployed forever. That's not fabric, it's policy. Yeah, wardrobe by Rosatom, cut from silence, styled in decay, cleared for distribution. She walks in authorization layers. Where's the delay? Wardrobe by Rosatom, never modeled twice. Model 7 enters from Chelyabinsk, her outfit cool in secrecy. Velcro seems like sarcophagus locks, a clutch line with IAEA inspection tags. Her expression irrelevant, her posture fully funded, no stitching permitted. All garments must self-contain, your signature confirms understanding. This pattern was never approved. Wardrobe by Rosatom, tailored in trust, styled for liquidation, modeled under oath. Wardrobe by Rosatom, a look that won't expire, just irradiate. My diamonds in the sleeves, graphite run off at the cuffs. A sash labeled future optional, no lining, no commentary. Only weight, only fabric with memory. Wardrobe by Rosatom. Wardrobe by Rosatom. nos attend.
I'm gonna play that other one too. Because
no garment survives inspection.
You really should have headphones on when you're listening to this. So I'm going to play, that was a wardrobe, but that's an incredible, beautiful beat, eh? And neutron embrittlement is a link below that to a PDF file about embrittlement of the reactors, because they always keep chunks of the reactors before they fire it up. That way you can compare the embrittlement over time to the original material. It's the size of a book, but it's worth reading. From 1998, on top of that, so it's even better again. Nuclear embrittlement.
Steel configured to hold design pressure meets conditions it was never meant to see. No rupture, no alarm, just atom displacement, building fatigue. Clearance marks intact, projections stay within range, yet fractures form along the grain when neutron fields rearrange. This is neutron embrittlement, not error, not wear, not loss. Just structure succumbing in field equilibrium to particles, counting the cost. No reset for exposure, no compliance model to mitigate stress vector. Not a story of failure, just the pattern phase offset made. Inspections show alignment, but metallurgists read beneath the inspection light. Vessel walls change composition without showing signs of property deviation. Thermal gradients remain consistent, flaws reside where light won't go, and every thermal sequence compresses the tolerance band in a way no response window can show. This is neutron embrittlement, not error, hot and nerd, not loss. Just structure succumbing in field equilibrium to particles, counting the cost. No reset for exposure, no compliance model to mitigate stress vector. Not a story of failure, just the pattern phase offset made. Embrittlement doesn't announce. It accumulates in absence. A property shift. Disguised as stability. Reading in the vessel, measured in transition temperature rise, acceptable until it isn't screened, but never advised. Neutron flux deforms alignment, bond strength erodes unseen, material memory rewritten beneath the Wigner effect. Sharpie test decline with exposure, embrittlement curve shift high, aging becomes performance till margins qualify the lie. There's no signature for failure, only calculated belief. Vessel life extended until containment quiet exceeds relief. This is neutron embrittlement, not flaw, not fear, not fade.